Where did you guys live? Did you always? Was it always the big house in Greenfield?
After we lived at the
On Arcadian Avenue.
When Grandma and Grandpa met and got married, where were they living?
We were living in
above the tavern.
the big Poochie's Tavern, up on that great big stone building on the corner of Madison and St. Paul.
That was Grandpa's place.
Grandpa
So it was Grandpa Poochie and Grandma.
I don't know why you
Poochie.
want me here. I can't get a word in it.
My dad and mother lived up there. Louis Reno and Mary lived up there. Tommy and
Tony
Emily
lived
lived
up
up there. Grandma and Grandpa, Mickey and Tony had the front room.
right.
Remember?
Yeah.
Everybody lived up there.
Yeah.
That's because Grandpa wanted it that
We had
way.
a big communal dining room. We used to
The
eat
kitchen.
We eat in shifts. Yeah.
Yeah, the kitchen was
Remember,
real big.
A wood burning stove that they cooked on, and that's where we started.
Now all three of
How
you
long
were
were you
born
there?
Well, then Dad rented the
Dad
place
took
on
over
Arcadian about 38, 39.
But we moved over
No.
we moved over to the tavern above. We had an apartment above as kids.
No,
Yeah,
When we left.
not me.
No,
No.
he wasn't born yet.
You guys, you
Yeah.
know, see, that was in 1925.
That was an
See,
apartment.
yeah.
Yeah.
You-
And
But
then
see, I was born in 29. You were
And I was
born.
born in
but-
26.
But then we didn't go
But we lived though on at Poochie's
at
house.
Poochie's. I lived at Poochie's
Originally,
over there.
yeah.
Because
We
I
used
went.
to have
I
the
was
big
going to school. I remember one time I went to school. I had a cowboy outfit I got for Christmas. I had a cowboy hat. Got the spurs. I got
Somebody shoved a nickel in him.
Yeah, and I went to kindergarten at
Barstow School.
too.
Yeah, I went to
Then from there we went to Arcadia,
Arcadia.
and that was about I don't know 37.
I was probably maybe 6 years old.
How long did you live there?
6, huh?
How long did
We
they
moved
live?
about 3 or 4 years.
We didn't live there very long. We lived there maybe. Let's see. When did we?
I think about 1940, 41. When
Right
Dad
around there when
built
we
Greenfield.
started building that house. Yeah, about 41.
And you
That's-
spent
we had a 40. Remember, we had a
Built
41
Plymouth.
Plymouth. 41 Plymouth, green.
When did you receive Holy Communion? You and Marion.
Well, that I was in the house on Greenfield
Greenfield Avenue.
Yeah.
Then what year was that? Do you remember? Because I think I graduated from
I was probably 12 years old.
We got
I
to write
don't
it
know.
down somewhere.
Yeah.
I graduated from St. Joe's in '39, and we lived up on Greenfield Avenue.
Yeah,
then.
yeah, right.
Did you went to St. Joe the same time we did? You
Sure.
must have.
Sure.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah,
you
'cause
were.
we walked, just one block from the
house.
Arcadian house to St. Joe's.
Yeah.
We were late.
Older boys, choir boys.
They had church. They had church every morning for the students. You know, at Procus.
Oh, they had a 6 or 7 and 8 o'clock.
And we lived a block away from the church. We were late. I don't know about them, but I was late almost all the time. And we used to one time my folks bought us
Probably
some
robbing somebody.
They bought us some knickers, and corduroy knickers. And when you walk down the aisle, you go swish, swish,
You could hear
swish,
it whistle
swish, swish.
almost.
And that's the last time I wore knickers. I said, I'm not going to wear those knickers. Everybody knows I come in late.
You could hear you coming
Yeah.
half a mile away.
How did this all turn into you dancing?
They don't know anything about that.
Oh, she
My-
went to dancing school.
Yeah.
My
Major,
mother.
was
My
it-
mother gave me dancing lessons. Had dancing lessons from Mrs. Bernard, and I was only about 4 years old when I started dancing lessons, and then I continued dancing lessons till I went into high school. That's how that started. But and then Paul, did you? Bobby Greenwald, I know, took lessons. I don't know if you took lessons or not.
I
Then.
don't think.
How'd you end up with Bill Robinson, Bojangles?
Oh, the teacher, the teacher, Miss Bernard, was a student of the dance, whatever it was, the Institute of Dance in New York, and he was giving a seminar, and they for somehow or other the word got out that certain teachers were allowed to bring one student, one of their best students, to this seminar. So I went to New York with Miss Bernard for that week and was taught lessons by Bill Robinson. He was a coach. That was, you guys were little.
I can remember your ballet slippers.
Yeah?
Because I remember I was fascinated because they're wool or cotton in the toes or
The
something
lamb's
like that,
wool.
wasn't it?
Lamb's wool.
Lamb's wool.
Yeah.
You,
Why would I remember that?
where's her name? Majors? Notre
Notre
Jean?
Jean Majors.
Notre Jean Majors.
Yeah.
What's Notre? Notre?
Noda Jean.
Oh, Noda Jean Majors, yeah.
She was
kind of a rival of yours.
She was
Yeah.
Was
Well,
she?
her mother was a dance teacher, wasn't she?
Her mother was a piano player.
A piano player?
She played the piano player, and Noda Jean was all right, except that she got stage fright whenever we had to get in public. I remember one time they had something down at the old stock pavilion, and they had a ring up there like where people would be prize fighting, and they had the show, and Noda Jean was ahead of me, supposed to do a dance or something, and she froze. She wouldn't do anything. So somebody picked her off the stage and put me on the stage, and I danced. And Archie Douglas at that time came and picked me up off the stage and held me and kissed me. And I was just a little girl, like 4 or 5
Who was
years
Archie
old.
Davis?
Archie Douglas was
Douglas?
Elena's uncle.
Elena's uncle.
Oh.
He was an assemblyman, wasn't he?
No, Lyle was his.
Alderman, wasn't he? Was that Assemblyman?
No, Lyle was a state assemblyman.
Oh.
But Archie was a lawyer.
No, he was a salesman.
Oh,
Lyle was a lawyer, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Lyle was a lawyer, okay. But I danced. We danced all over as a little girl, and then I stopped taking lessons and everything.
What about
But at one point, there's somewhere, there's a picture of me. Joe's got the picture of me in a little black velvet outfit with the
satin.
with the
top
top
And
hat,
a cane.
Yeah.
silver
Cane.
top hat and
Cane,
cane.
yeah.
And that picture was in the front page of Waukesha Freeman. And that's how
When?
long ago that was. And it says Waukesha's Dancer. I had that Freeman with me while we were still living in California. I had a box of stuff and everything. And when we moved, and I had a box with beautiful big hats and everything, there were several things moving when we moved from California to Waukesha, and that was one of the things.
Well,
that
you
was
danced at
for me.
Restaven,
And
didn't
I
you?
danced
Yeah.
at Restaven. And another time when I was just a little girl, Miss Bernard was putting on a show at the Riverside Theater. And Archbishop Stritch at that time was now later died as Cardinal Stritch. I don't know if it was for some benefit or what it was, but was sitting in the front row and everything. And I was good. I used to open the show and close the show, usually my acts. And I was up on the stage, and he came and he picked me up off the stage somehow or other. I don't remember if he had to go up the steps or what. Picked me off the stage and sat me down on his lap, and I watched the rest of the show with the Archbishop.
You know where that big building is on Hartwell and Arcadian Avenue? Way up on top.
the hill.
It's called
it's a
the
Bible.
Tribes.
New
the
Tribes Bible.
New
New
Tribes
Tribes
Bible.
now,
That
yeah.
used to be the Restaven. And
Yeah.
Restaven was
This is a rehab hospital.
military hospital.
World War I.
World War I, and mostly for TB patients and stuff like that. And my Uncle Louis was a patient there, and my dad got a job there. They thought he was in the service. My dad was never in the service.
They kept
But
the
he
records.
he pretended he was in the
Well,
service.
Mom worked there too.
Yeah, my mom worked there too. But Dad worked there, and in fact, he had a rupture or something, and they took him in as a patient because they thought he was a serviceman. My dad was never in the service, so.
Now,
How did-
now I see where you get it from.
How did Grandma and Aunt Mary put up with Grandpa and Uncle Louis?
Very, very well. I mean,
Who?
they were ideal wives actually for what they had to do, because the husbands were never home. They never were home.
You got to remember that they were involved in the tavern business before Uncle Louis and my dad got into the tavern business. They
helped Grandpa Poochie.
They helped Grandpa Poochie's at the Poochie's Gardens. They worked at the ice cream parlor on Hartwell Avenue, which was later on a spaghetti house. They called it Spaghetti House. And then Grandma and Aunt Mickey lived there at one time too.
Yeah.
And that's when Uncle Tony took over the bar there, and that's how. That's how Dad and Uncle Louis, when they came from they came from Iowa, Chicago, and then they knew people in Waukesha, and they came to Waukesha, and they got jobs at a foundry, okay, and they rented a room on Main Street from somebody, I forget who they were, and then they met
Two
by
sisters.
the two sisters.
Didn't they remember Mr. Sasso that lived on West St. Paul down there with the porch? I remember not Emily.
No, I know, Phil,
Mary.
Yeah,
Remember Mary
yeah.
Sasso, beautiful
Yeah,
Mary Sasso,
yeah,
who
I
worked
know.
at Gimbel's.
I don't know,
That
but-
they got somebody told them that this Mrs. Sasso was taking in boarders. Then they came from Chicago to Waukesha and to go see them, and I think they.
that might have been, but they met the two sisters.